They took some inspiration from Ann Summers and did this Black Friday campaign. We got the in the inbox, but we tripled our bookings that month on that Black Friday campaign.
Kunal Thakker, a businessman with a big vision. He's built the dental practice Tooth Club to 12 locations and now employs over 230 people within 3 years. And today he shares exactly how he's done it.
And everyone told me I was mad. And by the way, when anyone tells me I can't do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it 10 times better.
So for people that want to start to scale up, what's the next step?
It's okay to make mistakes.
Sharing the secrets to his consistent personal drive, he's now generating over 600 inquiries every single week. Lessons in scaling a business from nothing with Kunal Thakker.
You don't sell something to a patient that you wouldn't sell to your own mum and dad. If I could choose between being the biggest or the best, I'm going to choose to be the best every single time. Quality over quantity. I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room. I'm going to hire smart people around me.
Welcome to the BizX podcast, sharing with you all of the secrets and winning formulas in both business and life, with powerful lessons from guests like Frank Bruno, Nick Jenkins, Brad Sugars, Bianca Westwood, and many, many more. Yet, the sad reality is that over 80% of you aren't subscribed yet. And if that's you, hit the subscribe button now and help us grow this channel so that you can get 1% closer every single week to achieving your dreams in both business and life. Let's do this. All right, what's the first thing that you look at when you see someone then?
Smile.
Why do you look at the smile first?
I have to say that, right? Because I run a dental business, so you always kind of alluded to the smile and the teeth. But actually, no. It's the energy. I feel like a smile really projects a type of vibe, energy, and I love that.
You know, right now everybody's looking at our smiles.
I know, exactly.
You can't fake a smile though, neither.
Yeah.
And they're also looking at the teeth.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a dentist then.
So actually, I'm not. I'm not a dentist. I run a group of a dental chain. So we've got 12 practices, and we're growing this dental business. But actually, my background's banking. I spent 10 years at Goldman Sachs, followed by 5 years at HSBC. Did the whole big corporate thing. Wish I'd given it up sooner. But whilst I was there, I had a little side hustle, which was a dental practice, and I sold that, exited that, and went out on a venture to set up a big group.
Yeah. So you're a businessman, not a dentist.
Not a dentist.
You don't do any teeth yourself?
No. I'm scared of blood. And actually, my whole concept of my brand and our dentistry is I'm a very anxious patient, hate going to the dentist, hated it as a child. So the whole concept around Tooth Club has been about removing those anxieties and those barriers of going to the dentist. Because when people think about going to a dental practice, they think, oh, it's scary, it smells of disinfectant. The receptionist, you've got a bulldog behind the reception desk that won't look up. And it's quite an anxiety leading experience, and Tooth Club kind of abolishes all of that. You walk into one of my clinics, they smell amazing, they look amazing, the receptionists are meticulously trained to talk to every single patient that's in that chair. And you go into one of our dental chairs, stick on your headphones, watch the episode of Netflix, your best episode of Netflix, and hopefully it gives you a much different experience of going to a dental.
Have you heard of Paddy Lund?
I haven't.
Paddy Lund, yeah, he was a very famous dentist, and he was all about creating the experience for people.
Yeah.
So, when people walked in, the name was on the door, and they had their own private waiting room, and there was like fresh cookies being made and fresh muffins.
Yeah. In a dental practice?
Yeah, in a dental practice. And they knew how you liked your coffee and all of this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really important, right? Because life's all about how you make people feel. And that can be in personal life, but it's also in business as well, I believe. And I think our patient experience is all about how do we make people feel. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say we get 100% right every single time, but we're going to die trying, and we're going to give an outstanding experience to all the patients that come in. And constantly when I'm talking to my team, you see probably 30, 40 patients a day. Actually, that person goes to the dentist probably once every 6 months, or hasn't been for 10 years and is super anxious. So you've got one chance to make a good impression. So it's really every single person in the business bought into a vision and delivering outstanding patient
What are the
care.
keys to making a good impression?
Do you know... I'm going to use an action coach saying, which my coach taught me, right? Systemize the process, humanize the exceptions. And I think that's really, really important.
Just decipher that, because
Yeah.
you and I get that now.
Yeah.
You've been through that,
Yeah.
but let's decipher that. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so I guess systemizing the processes. So every time a patient comes in, we systemize things. So we've got things like we'll put in their favorite teas and coffees. Okay, if they tell you something about their holiday, it goes in there. We have like a pop-up. So when the patient notes comes up, you get a little pop-up to tell you. So all of those things are systemized. So the next receptionist that sees them, it might not be the same person. Hopefully it is, but if it's not, they can then pick up, oh, I hear you went on holiday, and you can really systemize all those little things that you think can't be systemized. But then humanizing, what I feel that's like is you've got a really anxious patient that doesn't want to talk, sitting in your reception room. They just don't want to speak. They just want to kind of do their own thing, and they've kind of gone in within themselves. It's kind of reaching out to them and saying, actually, are you all right? Can I get you a cup of tea? Or just trying to talk to them in a way that's just human. Figuring out what it is. And in a dental setting, it's bizarre what people walk in with, right? It's not just the anxiety of going in the dental chair, but they could have had an argument with the missus at home and they've come in stressed in our dental chair. So it's really kind of going that above and beyond, because there's so many dental practices, and this is what I say to my team, like, people could go into any dental practice. Why are they going to come into ours? And it's really those small things that you do, but you can't keep doing those small things as you scale up. But you can if you've got the right systems and processes in place,
right?
And then you're constantly training and systemizing your training so that they're able to give that care.
How often do your teams train?
Every single month. So every level of so whether you're our practice managers, whether you're our treatment coordinators, whether you're a receptionist or our nurses, you have a training session once a month, and that starts with the core values. What are we trying to deliver? Because what I find is if you have someone that's disjointed in the team that doesn't get that vision, there's a disconnect, right? Yeah, and we're all human. All my staff are human. They could have had a Barney with the missus at home, and they've just walked into work. But it's knowing how to leave that at the doorstep and putting on a performance, because actually we're in a healthcare sector. It's all about caring about people, so we kind of have to be selfless.
Is the training that you do around customer experience then, and living and breathing your core values, is that what you say in the training?
A combination. Of course, we do the technical skills training, right? We want to upskill and invest in our people. Recruitment, everyone knows, is tough. So there's a lot of that goes on. But before all of that technical stuff comes, do you understand the mission? Do you understand the values, the culture, what we're trying to deliver? Because we're different.
What is the mission? Well, you've got 12.
Yeah.
What's the mission here?
The mission is to disrupt dentistry. And dentists hate me as well, right? And I tell you why. Because they see what we do as not conventional dentistry. And I want to disrupt dentistry. I was a very anxious patient as a child going to the dentist, to the point I used to tear up appointment slips. I used to get a little postcard saying your appointment is due on this date, and I used to tear it up so my mum didn't see it, so she wouldn't take me to the dentist. And that's how anxious. And even today, when I get in that dental chair, and even if I'm having a simple clean, I'm super anxious, and that anxiety comes back. So I want to disrupt the way we do dentistry. I want to change the way people perceive dentistry. Because dentistry is a lot about preventative care. It's about cosmetic. It's about kind of giving that beautiful smile to every single individual, and not just fixing the childhood problems. So I really want to disrupt that whole concept. And when my wife goes to get her nails done or her hair done, she goes, I hate the process, but I love how I feel afterwards. So she goes back again. So same thing with the I can't make the drilling in the teeth any less invasive or it's just not a nice experience. But what I can do is make sure that you felt really nice coming to us, and that actually it's not daunting to come back to us again.
Yeah, and being receptive enough to know when someone's anxious.
Yeah.
And being skilled enough to be able to deal with that appropriately, even if that means just being calm and relaxing with someone and just putting them at ease.
Yeah.
Is a big thing that you focus on.
Yeah.
Now, right back at the start, I asked you what the first thing is that you look at when you look at someone, and you said the smile.
Yeah.
And then you said the energy.
Yeah.
Because the smile radiates energy.
Yeah. I'm someone that just I attract energy. I think maybe I've done too much reading or too philosophical in my own age, but I really believe in energy and being surrounded by positive people, and people that don't draw me down. I've had situations where I've even had people in my team that I've kind of just, not been an outwardly negative person, not so that you can see, oh, this person's really negative, but you get a sense their energy doesn't quite align and they're not on the same mission as you. And what I find is that they stop you from growing, and they stop you because they put doubts in your mind, they put fears in your mind. And I'm not going to surround myself with that anymore. If I see that, I very quickly distance myself from that energy. And I really believe in that. And it's always served me well working with people that are good energy, that are positive, that are constructive. I mean, you can still say something negative, but in a constructive manner. That's still good energy. I don't want people pleasers around me, or people that tell me what they think I want to hear. I want people that are going to tell me what the problems are, but they're going to tell me the solution at the same time. And having that energy around you and that buzz and that excitement is what has helped us grow over the last 3 years.
How long have you had Tooth Club then?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
We've got 12 practices now.
Yeah.
How many dentists is 12 practices?
So we've got 60 at the last count, just over 60 dentists, and a total team of about 230.
230 million.
Sorry, 230 people.
230.
I wish 230 million. No, I wish. Yeah.
So it's not a turnover. It's a total headcount of 230 people.
230 people
that you built inside 3 years.
Yes.
And what have been the struggles that you faced then? Because a lot of people will look at that and think, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And the journey's not always as smooth when you look under the bonnet. You know. So what have been the struggles in over 3 years of recruiting 60 dentists, recruiting 230 people in a 3-year period without you being on the tools?
Yeah. Do you know, I was watching a Stephen Bartlett podcast the other day, and a snippet of it, and it really resonated home. Someone said to me, "You're paying 230 mortgages." And that really hits home, because actually, whilst I'm not paying them, I'm responsible for people paying 230 mortgages or rent. And we had a situation, a really scary situation, probably the most scary situation I've had in the business. We moved banks. We moved from Bank A to Bank B. And we said, do not do the transfer over payroll. Do not do it. Whatever you do not do it. Guess what they do? Do it over payroll. So, it's now month end, and we are due to pay all the staff. So we go in, try and put the payments in, and we haven't got access. And something really, really simple like that. And I was literally having a heart attack, because I was like, how are we going to pay all the staff? Everyone's expecting to be paid. And in the end, between savings, asking my mum and dad for a favour, we managed to transfer it all, and we pay. Every single person got paid on time without fail, and literally 48 hours everyone else got paid off that had lent me the money to pay them. But it's a big responsibility, and I don't take that responsibility lightly. It's scary, because people are waiting for payday and you're responsible for it, and the stress of that and the anxiety around that is it's tough. And this was a technical example, but throughout the month, cash flow, making sure that we've got enough cash in the businesses in the different periods that we need to pay dentists and pay staff. It's a huge amount of a responsibility, I think, and that can be scary at times as an entrepreneur on my own. And I've had many private equity offers. I've had dental corporates wanting to buy in, and I haven't said yes yet, because I think there's still a way to go with our own journey. But there's no bank of mummy and daddy, or big checkbook in the back. This is me on my own, single person. That's got this responsibility. So I think that's one of the very recent scary moments within our business.
Changing bank, there you go.
I know.
The big lesson.
Yes.
I mean, 230 pay slips to do. There's a lot of money that you're having to borrow there, because the cash is in the bank, but you just can't transfer it. Can't access it, and there's nothing you can do. And I also, in terms of kind of short term borrowing, we obviously have overdrafts and things like that we could use on a rainy day, but you can't access it. So it was just it was tough. And then I think outside of that, there's always people that tell you can't do it, or actually, can I share one more example with you? So in 2019, I gave up banking, a very successful career in banking, and I loved banking, but it didn't drive my entrepreneurial spirit. Really wanted to do something new, so I sold a business and was taking the cash out to set up this business, and everyone told me I was mad.
you can't give up a good job. You're so senior. You've got a really good job. You've got 3 kids. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. Had laser focus. I'm going to go and do this, and I'm going to prove everyone I'm going to prove it to myself, but I'm going to prove everyone wrong, so that I can't do it. And by the way, when anyone tells me I can't do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it 10 times better. Just that drive in me. So come January, or come kind of February time, I was in a non-compete for a few months, and March we go into lockdown for COVID 2020, and everyone said, oh, we told you shouldn't have given up your job, you shouldn't have given up your day job. And coming from an Indian family, my parents are very much about having security and looking after your family, so they were like, we told you, you need to go back to banking. And I actually got a call from my boss saying, will you come and work for us during COVID? And I said, no way. I was laser focused. I'm going to enjoy making banana bread. I've worked for the last 16 years, got a bit of money in the bank account, but most importantly, I want to build something for the future, and if I'm going to get distracted, I'm not going to do it. So I made banana bread. I quite enjoyed the first lockdown with the kids and the family. And we opened our first clinic in August 2020. But that was, and since August 2020, we've just kind of gone on a massive growth journey. And now people see the other side of it and say, oh, wow, you've done really, really well. But it was those tough times where you have to believe in yourself and your own vision, even when you've got 100 people around you saying you can't do it. And actually, I was like, no, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to do it. And my wife, by the way, was hugely supportive. And she was the one that was saying, no, you can do it. You've got more in you. You can do this. So I had a real cheerleader behind me. But so many people were saying you couldn't do it. And those early days were probably most difficult when you're trying to prove your concept.
See, that actually works in any walk of life. I read a newspaper article last year. It was the England cricket team, and the England coach, the manager, said to one of the players, I won't mention the names, but said to one of the players, look, I don't think you're going to make the cut this year. And you know what happened? They just went out to prove them wrong.
Good on
And
it.
guess what? They made the cut.
Yeah.
So was that a tactical thing? Was it telling the truth, or was it to get the response that you wanted? But you turned that people telling you can't do it into drive, and loads of people can do that.
You can do it. You just need to find the way and have that self-belief. And I think there's a lot from childhood that comes out around self-belief as well, right? I come from an Indian family, and my parents educated me really well, and were a huge inspiration to this day around my entrepreneurial journey. But a couple of beliefs that I always had, and until very recently, was one, my parents were grafters. They were all about doing it themselves, working hard, preserving money, saving money. Whereas in my business, I've really had to change that mindset. No, I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room. I'm going to hire smarter people around me. And you know what? I'm not going to be doing the doing. I'm going to have people around me that do the doing. And I'm fortunate now because I've grown the business, so I can have that. But actually on day one, when I set up Tooth Club, day one, I hired an ops manager. And I said, there is no way I'm going to be caught up in the day-to-day, which, by the way, the day-to-day is what I love. I love the people aspect of dentistry. I love the team, the staff, the patient element. But I knew I couldn't grow if I was going to be doing that myself. It's what stopped me growing in my first business. So this whole preconception that, or this kind of education that I'd had as a child, it's good to graft. It is good to graft. You've got to know your trade. But there is also a point where you kind of have to say, actually, if I want to grow, I need to step back and I need to become, as Stephen Bartlett said, become the best recruiter and a full-time recruiter. So hire people around you that you can trust to go on and do and build your company. And a lot of these lessons for me are still learning, a kind of in progress. I haven't perfected it. I'm still a control freak at times, but I'm very self-aware that I'm a control freak. So I put systems in place to ensure that I'm not control freak, and I give people space to maneuver. And 9 out of 10 times when I've trusted my team, they delivered probably better than I would have done. So
I'm just going to put this into a logical order, actually.
Yeah.
Day one, you started business, part of the success story here. Hire an ops manager.
Yes.
So that you're not doing the do. You're already not doing the do anyway because you're not doing the dentistry.
Yeah.
Then systemize the process and humanize the exceptions.
Yes.
And then become a full-time recruiter.
Absolutely. That's it.
So far, so good, hey?
Yeah. Yes.
So Did you go from owning one practice to owning several, or from one to two?
Yeah, it was in steps and stages. So
Did you start with one?
started with one. And then I went out and bought another. So our first practice I actually built from scratch. We went on a high street location.
Yeah.
We didn't pay the goodwill to acquire. In dentistry, what you do is kind of a buy and build model. So you buy existing practices, bunch them all together. I set up my first practice. I went on a high street, got a unit, put some dental chairs in, and ploughed the marketing, recruited some patients, and we did really well. And as we were doing that, I was buying my next practice, so doing the typical thing that everyone else does, buy and build. So I bought a practice, a well-established 30-year-old practice, and what I found is that second practice was so hard to change the core beliefs of the team in that practice, and trying to get them to align to the Tooth Club vision. It was near impossible doing it, and to some degree it was unethical. I had a receptionist that had worked there for 28 years, and I'm asking her to completely change everything she knows overnight because I was trying to deliver this vision. And through time, we managed to do it, and it took a lot of time. But what we realised is we're actually good at building our own practices. I don't need to go and pay £1 million to buy a practice. I can actually spend £300,000, do up our own practices. We're really good at marketing, right? Yeah, and really good at sales. We're going to grow our own business. So we refined our journey and what that looked like. And we didn't do what everyone else in the industry was doing, which was to spend ridiculous amounts of goodwill, buy, and then one day sell at a different multiple and arbitrage the difference. We build our own practices. We make sure that they're stunning looking, they're designed to spec. Every single person going in there is brand new, trained as to how we want them to deliver our vision. And for that whole journey, from the minute we choose a site or a location, all the way until we've got our patients having a proper dental treatment, that every part of that journey is systemised, and we have a process and checklist around every single bit, and we have police and checks that happen to make sure that we're in line, and that protects us because it means that we're working quite within our guidelines, and less likely to make mistakes around locations and things like that. But mistakes still happen, but I feel far more comfortable being able to do it like that. And actually, I don't even do it anymore. I've got people in my team that do it and are just as passionate and energetic about Tooth Club. And if you met my team today, you'd see that same passion and desire and vision to change and disrupt dentistry and to change the way we do things.
You said that you were really good at marketing and selling.
Yes.
In there.
Yeah.
Now, few businesses are really good at marketing.
Yeah.
Why did you say you're really good at it?
Because I understand people. So when I'm doing everyone can do Instagram ads, everyone can do Facebook, right? Everyone can do TikTok, everyone can do Google ads. I understand people. So when I'm scrolling through my feed, I know what's going to make me stop and look versus what's going to make me scroll on. And I do not even look at what my competitors are doing because it distracts me from what I'm doing. Actually, I'm very much about, is this going to attract the patient? I'm not trying to impress another dentist or another marketing agency. I'm trying to impress that patient to stop and click on our adverts or our sponsored feeds or any of our stories. So I grew our social media. So we're currently at about, I think across all the platforms, we're probably about 200,000 followers across all of our platforms. But initially, I initiated that. We've got teams now that run that because the inquiry volume.
How many people in your marketing team now?
Yeah.
How many people have you got in?
So we've actually got 4 people in our marketing team. And one of the other things that I did,
feels quite lightweight on a 230 business.
So it's a 230 people business. So we're 12 clinics. So our revenue is 12 million. And, we're now working to get that up to 20 million in the next 12 months. So actually it's not, because you hire the right people with the right skill set. I've always been about let's hire less but hire good than hire lots and not get the talent pool. Very recently, we actually moved some of our functions out to our support centre functions or our head office functions out to India. So I've got a team in Bangalore and I've got a team in Johannesburg. So and there's a couple of drivers for that, but we've basically attracted really, really good talent, being able to scale up our business, and it's also been cost effective to be able to do that. But we have 4 people that run our social media team, and they are replying to. We get approximately about 600 inquiries a day, and you message my team at 6 a.m. or at 9:45 p.m. you'll get a response within 15 minutes.
Pretty impressive, isn't it? So 600 inquiries a day.
Yeah.
That would be a dream for most business owners.
Yeah.
Now, 3 years ago, was that your dream? To be getting 600 plus inquiries a day?
Do you know, I still don't think it's enough. Being honest with you, it's not enough, because I see huge gap. I still see huge opportunity. Why are we not getting 1,000? Because there are patients that are still Instagramming another dental practice. So why are we not? What have we not done that we've not attracted that person? So I think 600 is great, and then we're looking at things like conversion. So from inquiry to booking to person turning up in the chair.
So why did you say that the sales was good then?
The sales was good because sales in dentistry is a real negative taboo word, and people don't like using sales because we're a healthcare business, right? Yeah, we're all about looking after people, but in our sales journey, we have a really clear, articulated patient workflow, journey, scripts that people can use, and a training program for people that are going to be on this sales journey. So we've refined that down to a T, and I enjoy selling. I love it. I enjoy every aspect of selling, but why I enjoy selling is because I believe in what I'm selling. I believe that if you come into a tooth club practice, we're going to make sure that you walk out with a beautiful smile, and we're really going to look after you, right? And you're never going to dislike going to the dentist again. And because I believe in it, I can sell you that dream. And I do have a very crude saying to my team, and that crude saying is, you don't sell something to a patient that you wouldn't sell to your own mum and dad. Okay, and if you keep that in the back of your mind, right, that I'm not going to missell, I'm going to do this genuinely, your conversions are higher, because when you're selling something you don't fully believe in, or you think you're under pressure to missell, okay, your conversions, where it's the right scenario where you could convert, you're still going to have these negative thoughts in your head. But I'm absolutely okay if a patient comes in and they don't need a dental implant, for example, don't sell them it. Why are we going to do that? So, A, it's unethical, it's probably illegal, but, there's 100 other patients that we can get through our doors that will need it, that we can treat. And I also believe that even in that consultation, if that patient doesn't need a treatment and you've treated them right and that you've given them a right experience, they're going to go and tell their friends. They're going to tell one or two other people, and that word of mouth will spread.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe I just trust too easily, because, does that happen in dentistry? They oversell you. They sell you a product that you don't actually need.
Absolutely, it does. In the cosmetic sector, it does. It does. Unfortunately, it does. And it gives our industry a really bad name. And that's why when traditional dentists see Tooth Club, there's often a dislike towards the brand. But I'm not here to impress dentists, I'm here to impress patients. But there is a dislike in the industry for the brand, because it's doing something different, it's disrupting, but it's also a preconception that we're going to missell. No, we're not. We're not. We're going to treat every patient like a human. We're going to look after them, and we're not after the quick sell. This isn't a sprint. We're going for the marathon, right? Yeah. And by the way, that dentist that doesn't like us, we're going to take your patient on that journey, right? Yeah. And we're going to steal your patients, because we're going to give them such a good treatment and look after them so well that they will come to us.
You're definitely a disruptor, that's for sure.
Yeah, and unapologetically disrupting, because I spent a lot of my time apologising, wanting to impress. From my childhood, again, people pleasing. No, I'm not here to please. I'm here to please.
When did you have that shift? So
probably
a lot of your life, you're people pleasing.
Yeah, and also working in a corporate, working for HSBC and Goldman Sachs, and I never want to discredit that, because it was some of the best parts of my career, and I learned a lot there. I spent a lot of my time people pleasing, and I spent a lot of my time people pleasing the people that were going to dictate what the bonuses were at the end of the year, and who were going to dictate what the promotions were. Whereas now, I'm not people-pleasing. Now it's like, well, actually, we need to grow our business, and we're going to do it, whatever it takes, we're going to do. And we're going to talk about the uncomfortable things in the room. We're going to talk about that elephant. We talk about, swallowing frogs before 11 o'clock. No, we're going to swallow elephants before 11 o'clock, because we have to deal and have those uncomfortable conversations. And I'm a strong believer in, if you don't avoid it and you deal with those situations, you can progress, you can move on far faster. Otherwise, and if you don't do it, you just live in fears and a constant fear of something going wrong. Whereas you tackle that frog or that elephant, I just think you can really, it's actually not so scary once you've dealt with it.
Everything else tastes nicer once you've eaten a frog. Yeah,
absolutely.
Good old Brian Tracy.
There you go.
So I like it. So the first practice you built, yourself.
Yeah.
Then you fell into the buy and build thing, which people do. Buy it for $1 million or whatever it is. And But then you realise, actually, we need to grow our own.
Yeah.
We just need to grow our own.
Yeah.
We're good at marketing.
Yeah.
We're good at sales.
Yeah.
And that engine is going to help us grow our own.
Yeah.
And now we're at 12.
Yes.
How many are you going to build? You grow?
50.
50?
50.
By when?
By 2026.
2026. There you go. What a vision.
Yeah. And I'll tell you how we're going to do that, because everyone would think I get told that I'm crazy. I have visions, right? And I have these things where I can just see things. And so I'd say crazy things like, we're going to grow from 12 million to 20 million by the end of this year, but by March next year, by a financial year next year. And I know exactly how I'm going to do that, because I've got a clear plan to how to do it. So I come up with these crazy ideas, and then we can do it. And now 50 might sound absolutely nuts to people. Now, firstly, what I would caveat on that is I've got a big ethos. If I could choose between being the biggest or the best, I'm going to choose to be the best every single time. It's a core value of mine.
Yeah.
I want quality over quantity. Okay. I also know and believe that actually having good quality practices with good quality EBITDA is better than having ones that don't quite work, or ones that you kind of rush to go through. So it is going to be a sensible plan. I actually had funding last year and an offer last year that could have got us on that 50, and I turned it down because it wasn't the right thing for the business at the right time. It wasn't the right offer, not the right macroeconomic environment.
How did you make that decision?
I listened to my gut. The most unscientific thing that you could think of, right? I went through lots of iterations of we had a few offers on the table. This particular offer was a minority stake, gave me the opportunity to grow, and there was a real pull in my head. Is it my fear that I'm not doing this, or is it my gut saying this isn't quite right? And it's really hard to distinguish between what's a fear and what's a gut telling you actually this isn't the right thing for your business. And I paused. I just stopped. And as you can tell, I talk really fast. We work really fast. We're a growth business, loads of energy. I just stopped. Took 2 weeks out, went on holiday, and said, is this the right thing? And what I realised was...
Did it take 2 weeks to make the decision? To come back with the gut, to settle down on it and just go, right, I'm going?
Do you know, I think actually not. It took me 2 weeks to say it out loud.
Right.
I think I knew early on.
It's a really good point, isn't it? Knowing it is one thing, and saying it and then taking action on it is a different thing. Yes. But it took you 2 weeks to have enough confidence to then go to communicate that to everyone else.
Absolutely.
To turn someone down, really, in effect.
Yeah. And I feel I turned it down because we'd gone through so many iterations of the offer, and the other side had come a long way on that offer. It was really awkward to have, but you know what? We swallowed the elephant. And I think the one thing I can look in the eye and say is we turned the offer down respectfully. We were honest in our communication. We didn't string anyone along. And I hope, one day in the future, if they still wanted to invest, there might be an opportunity at another juncture. But when I look back now, kind of 4 or 5 months on from making that decision, it was absolutely the right decision. I'll tell you why.
Well,
right? Because they were offering me for equity in the business. They were offering me some money, and it was a time where I couldn't get debt to go on and grow. And I had this ambition to grow, but no one would lend me money because it's not like an existing business that all the banks would lend. We go to secondary lenders, and they were all tightening up. Interest rates were going up. People were very, very worried. Credit appetite changed. So if I'd said yes, I was making a knee-jerk reaction. We're now in March, right? Probably only 4 or 5 months away from where we were, and the debt markets are opening up to us. I've got funding to go and do another 2. So it's really, really important. It's really hard to kind of fear versus gut feel what's right for the business, and gut feel, everyone always thinks it's emotional. It is emotional, but actually your business is is very much a part of what you've built, and you build a lot of that on gut feel. So to make that decision was absolutely the right thing for the business. Whilst it's not, I can't say it was scientific and there was these 5 things wrong with the offer. No, it was a gut feel, and that gut feel was absolutely right. And I think it just gives you that whole, again, going back to my childhood, making sure that you do trust your gut, And I don't think in my childhood, and there's many decisions I made along the years where I didn't trust my gut. And I'll give you a quick example. Is I come from an Indian family. My dad always wanted me to be a doctor. Did my GCSEs, did really well. He's like, "Oh, you've got to do biology, chemistry, maths at A level." And I was like, "Okay, I need people, please." Okay, yeah, I got A's. I can do it. Hated sciences. Oh my goodness, I can't even stand blood. But I did it, and I failed. Biggest learning ever. I came back, disappointed the family. My dad was really disappointed, and I said, "Sod you lot, I'm going to do the A-levels that I want." And I went on to do very well in my A-levels, resat a year, so I was a year behind all of my friends.
What did you do?
Huh?
What did you do second time?
Accounts, business and drama.
There you go.
Yeah.
And now you're a businessman.
Absolutely.
That looks after the accounts. You build a vision.
Yeah.
You back it up with all these scenarios.
Absolutely.
And you probably dramatise a little bit of things through your marketing, through
absolutely.
the experience that you create.
My team say to me, I'm the only diva that's allowed in the business. So, yeah, absolutely. But but I went on. I did those A-levels, and I went to work with the biggest US investment bank in the world. Right? Yeah. I ended up with 12 offers from 12 investment banks when I graduated, and that I think is for me that was a huge achievement. But those. That whole childhood thing of, those, not to trust your gut, go and do what other people tell you, listen to the noise. Look, I listen to my team all the time and I really value their input. But there's also a time where I need to not listen. I need to trust my gut and trust my own instincts. And we all make mistakes, and I make mistakes, and my team make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. And I think, for me, it's making those mistakes, learning from those mistakes, because no one will be harder on me than I will be on myself if I make a mistake. But more importantly is I've learned from every single one, and we're going to continue doing it.
What impact has building this database of 200,000 plus? I went on your Instagram. There's 40-odd thousand on your Instagram. What impact has social media then had on your business growth?
Huge. Social media is a big platform. So I actually started out doing Facebook ads myself in my bedroom for my first dental practice, and was just playing around and doing it and figuring out what works, what doesn't. But it has a huge impact, and where I think we're different to some of the other dental groups is we like to tell a story, not just we're going to advertise teeth whitening, because everyone just advertises teeth whitening, but actually you're going to tell a story. Why should you come to us, right? And
what's been the best story then that's grabbed attention?
Do you know, actually, this wasn't me. This was actually my team. So my team did a Black Friday. They took inspiration from the Ann Summers Christmas advert. Black Friday and Christmas, the adverts all started coming out together. So they took some inspiration from Ann Summers and did this Black Friday campaign. A little bit raunchy, but it made people stop. And we got the perverts in the inbox, of course we did, right? But actually, we got a lot of women that wanted to look very, very glamorous and actually nice teeth. It wasn't just about the Ann Summers outfit. It was actually about having nice teeth. We tripled our bookings that month on that Black Friday campaign. And our offer, it was a good offer, but it wasn't, we would never have achieved that just because it was a fact that our video, our brand told a story and kind of portrayed glamour, made people feel good, and actually you can come to us, trust us, and we're going to make you give you an amazing smile.
What a good idea,
Yeah.
Sex sells, doesn't it? That's what they said back in the 90s.
Sex sells, and it stops. But we're living in a world where people want to look good. People do want to do a bit of self-care. People want to spend time on themselves. Where we're kind of on Zoom and Teams calls all day long, people are looking at their own teeth. It's the biggest psychology now.
They do. Look.
Yeah.
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't go overboard on it, but you've definitely got me thinking about it during this, and people are looking at your teeth and my teeth right now.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And people have their own story, and that's what I think connects the marketing and the sales, because we're telling our story. When you come into our sales consultation, the first thing we'll do is we'll hand you a mirror. Right, yeah, and tell us about yourself. Tell us about your smile. It's one of the opening scripts. We don't even use the word teeth. Tell us about your smile, right? Yeah, and then people go straight into it. I've got this. But dig a little bit deeper, and you always find that there's a story behind it. So people had braces as a child, never wore the retainers. Their teeth had gone crooked. Sometimes things like domestic violence, bullying at school. There's always a story, and when you connect with people, that is what gets the sales. And when I look at my best salespeople in my business, it's always about connection. It's not about teeth. It's not about anything. It's about connection. Did you connect with that person? So we're constantly teaching our salespeople how to connect with other humans, and that's a big part of the journey. And most practices or most dental groups have treatment coordinators, which are salespeople. These people are typically dental nurses because they're very clinically trained. They know all the options. I don't hire dental nurses as my treatment coordinators because they get too technical. Connect with the person, connect with the human. Humans buy from humans, and I believe that. And so I do think that there's a way to go. I really believe in that, and I think even in a world of AI, and I'm sure I'm going to be proven wrong, but that human connection, there's always going to be a value for that human connection.
I've got a few quick questions to finish with here. Number one, what's the funniest thing that you've seen?
The funniest thing. I'll tell you the funniest thing that I've done. So we had Stacey Solomon into the practice to get her teeth done. Paying patient, may I add.
I mean, she's a smiley, yeah?
She is, yeah, absolutely. So she brought the family in to our clinics, and I knew she was coming in, but I didn't know what day she was coming in. So I walked into the clinic and literally tripped up on the floor as I was I just tripped, seeing this celebrity in my dental clinic. So I don't know if it was funny. I think it's more funny for everyone else, but and she found it hilarious as well. But she, they
tripped up on your way in.
I tripped on my way in, and then there you go, like Stacey Solomon, standing there with her husband and family, thinking, actually, do you know what? I want to act quite cool. I'm the owner of this business, and made an absolute prat of myself. But hey,
there we go.
You got to do that. Yeah.
What's the best business book you've ever read?
Do you know, I'm reading Manifest at the moment, right? Because I really believe in visualization, and I was kind of doing it and not knowing I was doing it.
Right.
My coach actually just bought me a Manifest to read. I love it. I absolutely love it, because it's concepts within Manifest that I think I've been doing anyway, not knowing I've been doing it. But just to give you tips and tricks as to how you can really refine it. And people may think manifesting is a bit of nonsense, but it's not. It's actually quite scientific, because it's about keeping a real clear vision as to where you're going and not allowing your fears or things to disrupt you or get in your way, but also accepting that's going to happen. People are going to tell you can't do it. People are going to say you're not going to be able to do it. But how do you block that noise out and stay focused when there is so much noise going on? And that's what I find quite challenging, because we're an excitable growth business. We're high energy, high impact, and that's great. But you've got to make sure you don't take your eye off the ball. And that is your vision. Where do you want to be in 12 months, 18 months, or 5 years? And just keeping that vision really clear.
Manifest. Beautiful. All right. What's the first action point that the listeners should do having listened to this podcast?
Follow us on Instagram. What do I think?
Well, you might do a bit of market research on the marketing.
Yeah.
The marketing is clearly working. You've built a marketing machine here and a sales engine where you don't have to do the buy and build model. You can grow your own practices.
Absolutely. The first thing I'd do is, don't overthink it. I don't know if that's advice or what I do, but don't overthink it. Put one foot in front of the other and get going. Get going with it, and stay true to yourself. If you've promised yourself something, it's like the book Slight Edge, right? Yeah. If you've promised yourself something, don't let yourself down by not doing it. So this is a really bad example for me, but if you say you're going to go to the gym, turn up, right? Because you promised yourself. Don't let anyone sidetrack you, because you've then let yourself down. If you're going to let yourself down, I think that's the biggest letdown you could possibly do. Don't let yourself down. Do what you say you're going to do. It's better to let others down than let yourself down, I think.
I'm going to go on I'm just going to take that same question just a stepping stone further, actually, because some listeners listening to this have currently got a business. Yeah. And you've shared with how you bought a second one and then added a third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You've got 12 practices now, all under one umbrella. So for people that are listening that want to start to scale up, what's the next step?
Be really, I think, plan. Sit down and plan. What is it that you want? What does that business look like? And really plan what the steps are. And they can be baby steps. They don't need to be huge leaps, right? Yeah. So really sit down, plan what you're going to do. How what's your USP, right? Yeah, in whatever sector you're in, right? Yeah, because there's loads of dental practices. I'm really clear on what our USP is, and don't let things take you off track on that plan. So really work, execute, think about what your plans are, think about what your fears are as well. Think about what those things that are going to hold you back, because I think it's okay to think about them, just don't let them hold you back. So think about them, acknowledge them, put a plan to overcome those, and move forward. I think sometimes overthinking it is a real barrier. There's a problem, let's think about it, but let's be really scientific about, write down the problem, what is the solution, and then move forward, and don't let anything stop you moving forward.
If you could go back and do the 3 years TÜV Club again,
yeah,
would you do anything different?
Yes and no. No, because I think we've learned so much along the way, and I think every time we failed, it's been a lesson learnt. So I think we'd continue to do that. But then, look, we've made mistakes. I think we've made mistakes.
What mistakes would you not make this time round?
Do you know, falling, listening to other people's vision and trying to base your vision on theirs, staying true to your own vision, because it was the thing that I kind of spoke to you about before, was actually like 50 sites. Actually, we actually added a site on that we then closed down because it wasn't the right site, but that was because we were on this whole mission to say, we're this number of practices. When you're looking at the EBITDA, when you're looking at your exit model, when you're looking at kind of multiples, the whole of that is valued on the quality of your business. It's not valued on the number of practices you've got. So I was almost trying to impress someone else by saying, we've got all these practices. No, what is the vision? What is this? What are we trying to set out to do? And what does the exit look like? And stay true to those things. I feel is what I would, if I was to go back again, I'd make sure that was really solid and just stay focused. And I'm staying focused on it now and going forward. But there was times where it wasn't so.
Have you got over that now? Are you not trying to impress anyone else?
No, I'm not actually. I'm not. I'm really. I'm trying to impress my patients because I want to continue to. I never want to be stagnant with our patient journey. That's really important to me. But no, not anymore. No, I think at the time when we want to exit, I think there's obviously things we're trying to do at the exit point, but we're going to be different. We're going to be proud. We're going to do it differently, and others are taking inspiration from it, so that's good. But no, really staying focused. Of course, you need to look at your competitors. Of course, you need to look at the macro landscape. But no, we're not going to try and impress anyone else. We're going to stay true to our vision.
I think that's my favourite point, actually. That you've just mentioned it there, but you've mentioned it several times throughout.
Yeah.
Knowing where you're going, being true to that.
Yeah.
And even when you went on that 2-week holiday and you had to you came back and you were strong enough to say, actually, no, we're going to do this ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's all about customer experience. Yeah. That's my favourite bit. What's been your favourite part?
Do you know what? Just reliving it, actually, because 3 years goes so fast. And, some of it, I think it's the emotional journey of some of it. Because even I've not actually talked to anyone about that offer and that 2 weeks. We were giving you £500 off of Black Friday. And it's a campaign we've run before. But, you had models running around in Ann Summers outfits. I'll let your imagination do the talking. But it was borderline. It wasn't extreme. It was just borderline. So it made people stop and look. But it was all about glamour. It was all about people feeling good, looking good, the teeth looking stunning. That's what the campaign was about, and it really resonated with people because we saw 3 times the number of inquiries. Actually, the conversion to actual patients in seat. So whilst we had 3 times the bookings, we had 4 times the conversion to treatment.
Wow.
So, and that is all, and I don't think it's one thing alone. I think it's a series of things. It's us telling our story, people telling their story, our sales journey, and then also doing outstanding dentistry. And that is a core to us. We have to do amazing, amazing clinical work. But we've got amazing dentists that do that. So, just keeping them and retaining them and keeping them motivated is important.
Moral to the story. Observe what Ann Summers doing there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, Kunal Thakker, thank you very much.
Thank you.